Welcome to the Dr. Grant Show. You know that feeling when you're just not feeling it at work, like you're constantly playing defense and trying to avoid making any more mistakes? Well, in this episode of the Dr. Grant Show, I'm going to share with you the science of confidence and how to be more empowered and assertive at work. So for those of you that are familiar with me, my name is Dr. Kirsten Grant. I am the president of Phoenix 6 and a digital wellness practice that helps emotional eaters and people that are struggling to lose weight and people that struggle with food binging and food addiction. And if you're like most people, then at some point in your career, you've wished that you could feel just a bit more confident, more empowered, more in control. Well, guess what? It's not impossible. The science of confidence is actually a lot simpler than you think. And in this video, I'm going to simplify for you step by step so that next time you walk into work or a big meeting or presentation, you can own the room. Let's get into the topics. Understanding the science of confidence. Number 2, identifying your personal triggers. Number 3, practicing self-affirmation techniques, but you pick the wrong one and your confidence actually takes a bigger nosedive. Number 4, dress for success, but there's a twist on that. Number 5, preparing for challenging situations by rehearsing what you'll say and do. And finally, taking action. But there's even a caveat to that, because if you don't take action in the right way, the next thing you know, your confidence is also taking a nosedive, which is exactly what we don't want. Okay, so let's dive into the topics. Okay, number 1, understanding the science of confidence. There is an actual science to it. Now, without getting all into too much of the nitty gritty, here are the top 2 things you need to know about the science behind confidence. Number 1, keeping your prefrontal cortex online is of the utmost importance. We do this by, number 1, identifying what our personal triggers are so we can see our patterns, which kind of dovetails us into number 2, and also learning the key techniques to make sure what caused us to lose our confidence in the first place. It could have been a technique that snuck in. It could have been something that someone said, however well-meaning. These are the 2 cornerstones that you will build on as you understand the science of your confidence. So let's dovetail a little bit into that without getting into too much of the nitty-gritty here. I want to talk to you about whatever event or technique wound up ingraining itself into your subconscious mind that activates itself at the most inopportune time. There are 2 sub layers and classification of that. Okay. Sub layer. The first sub layer of that is finding out what made your confidence waver and waffle in the first place. It could have been something innocent that happened when you were younger, being said by a well-intended, well-meaning family member, loved one, teacher, friend. Either way, something dovetailed your confidence at the most crucial time. Now, here's the key. Everyone's different. What could cause one person's confidence to tank and stay on shaky ground could be entirely different for someone else. This actually rides on the coattails of something called values and belief systems. And if you don't have a firm understanding of your values and belief systems and how they can fire off and launch when you're riding high, so to speak, when things are going your way, and also when you are riding low, then your confidence will constantly feel like it is in a boxing match with a dinosaur. It can be adjusted, but you have to have the right tools. Let me go a little bit deeper into that science confidence. Without the right tools, here's what happens: push, pull, push, pull. Your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, is eternally online, and your confidence and your ability to believe that you can accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish, it's riding high until your back is against the wall. You're feeling stress and anxiety over a presentation. You're feeling stress and anxiety over telling that person that keeps asking you to go out to lunch at work that you just really don't mesh with their personality and they're friends with the boss. Until you're not hitting your sales numbers. That is the underbelly and the true image of your confidence and what you truly are. It's what whispers to you just before you go to bed. It is what is gently nudging you away from making that one more. It could be one more anything, that one more phone call, that one more email, that one more text, that one more voicemail message, that one more step, even in terms of your fitness regimen. For the people that I serve that are emotional eaters, food addicts, and people that are trying to lose weight, this is one of the biggest things that we talk about. It's not in your face, not the way that you think, not the way that you would assume, but it is subtly playing chess with your life. So understanding those two key things in the science of confidence will liberate you in so many other areas. Let's get into number 2. Identifying your personal triggers. The triggers that work for you, once again, because everybody is different. And that's what's so important here. Most people think they know what their triggers are. But I beg you, I implore you to go one more, to go deeper. This is something that requires someone from the outside looking in to you. This is also someone that can offer you a safe haven for you to speak freely, without judgment, without shame, as these things come up and you pull them back in layers. You may know your triggers on the surface, but why is that triggering for you? It's deeper than you think. And until you sever the neural acoustic connection between your triggers, they will continue to rule you. They will continue to rule your bank account. They will continue to rule your relationships, whether you're in one, just wrapped up one, or staring into the abyss of wondering, is there anyone out there? This conversation is difficult to be had with loved ones and friends because they don't know, despite their best intentions, the right psychological questions to ask. You don't have to go with me as your person. I would love it if you did, if we find that we have a love connection here in terms of helping you. But the key here is to find someone that can make you feel safe, that can answer your questions, and can clearly see a path to free you from what has its grapple hooks in you. And that's willing to spend unlimited time with you to give you space and hold space for you to grow and expand as more things come to the surface. Without this, you may have victories, but they'll be hollow. And I don't know about you, But if I want to build my confidence and know that I am unshakable when I get bludgeoned in the head with life, I desire, and I know most people that I talk to desire, to still be able to, almost like the Matrix, almost like that movie where they're bending all the way backward in a deep back bend and still coming back up again. Confidence builds your resiliency as well as the ability to see clarity and hold strong to clarity in the midst of confusion. This is where you find your freedom. But you need someone to be able to guide you there, and someone that's willing to take the time. Someone that understands that the stakes for you are high and take it with just as much of a sense of urgency as you do, perhaps even more so. Let's go into number 3. Practice self-affirmation techniques to boost your confidence. Now, I am a huge fan of using EFT tapping, and I have created a scientific technique that fuses sound baths with EFT tapping, as well as hypnosis, as well as yoga, not all at the same time. Although we've done it at the same time as well, and it works beautifully. But in this case, I'm talking about them being separately, 3 separate hemispheres. The key here is this: applying the psychological questions, knowing what to ask, when to ask it, and then what tool in that arsenal of psychological tools to help you apply and get the revelations that you need, and to sit up there and also create self-affirmation techniques based on where you are right here, right now, in this point, this stage, and this chapter of your life. It would be the equivalent of, as much as I love my children that are young right now, but it would be the equivalent of me loving my children so much that I just simply give them more than they can handle in the name of Eros and love. So my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, she desperately wants to drive. She's got her own little motorized little motorcycle, which fits her perfectly. But what if I said, oh, honey, you're 8 years old. You said you want to drive. Let me hand you the keys to my truck. She could get in. She could unlock the door. Press a little button. Boop, boop. She could slide into the driver's seat. She could maybe even see over the dashboard. But her feet wouldn't be able to reach the pedals. She may even be able to shift the gear of my truck and put it into drive. But that's more dangerous for her and the people that might be in the way than to her ego. This is what I mean about self-affirmation techniques and, dare I say, toxic positivity. It's like sticking a smiley face on the gas gauge of your car when you are almost empty and saying, it's not empty, it's not empty, it's not empty. It does nothing, and you still run out of gas. And like in the example of my daughter, if I put her in my car and she's only 8 years old, she could get that puppy out of gear even, but she won't be able to take it where she wants it to go. She might even hurt herself. She might even put others in danger. Most people need the right self-affirmation techniques and tools, once again, based on where they are at this point, this place in their lives. For the people that I serve that struggle with emotional eating and food addiction, this is triply important. For people that are trying to lose weight and you're waffling a bit with confidence, this is mission critical DEFCON 5 important. It's very difficult to just simply pluck a self-affirmation technique off of a video or off a book that you read and tap and chant and meditate and expect a huge shift to happen that is sustainable. And this is why we find ourselves back to where we started, or even deeper backwards than whence we came. And all the while, your self-confidence is almost like a boxer in a boxing ring. It's ducking, it's dodging, it's dropping down to avoid that punch, it's jumping back and forth. But eventually, a punch of life makes its contact and they're knocked out. Because the confidence that is a boxer, that's like a boxer in a boxing ring, they read how to box out of a book. They watched videos on how to box, but they never had a trainer. And this is where everything falls apart. You need a trainer. You need a mentor. And that's what most people are lacking. And this is the mistake that most people make. To a certain degree, you can attack some of this yourself, and you will have revelations. Some people do. But if you're seeking sustainability, if you're seeking to get a major shot of adrenaline into your career and supercharge your career, especially at this point in time, then you need something more powerful that's custom tailored to you. All right, let's get into the next one. Dressing, and this is really, I have a very unique perspective on this. Dressing for success to boost your confidence. This is important. I want to talk to you about this because people often think that they are finally ready to dress for success. They look and think about several people, situations, the last model that they saw, for example, and they go out and they try to emulate that. Well, there's two problems with that. Problem number one is budget for some people. And problem number two is, what if that's really not flattering to you? Now you've created a third problem. Your confidence is once again like that box in the ring, getting knocked down a couple of times and punched by these challenging thoughts, because now you have donned the uniform and the wardrobe, but you're not looking like the warrior that you imagined, which creates another conundrum. The solution to this is actually simpler than you think. Going into your closet, reconfiguring textures of your clothing, reconfiguring and rearranging colors of your clothing. I will never forget when I was younger, I often shopped and looked at items on Michigan Avenue. And I began to realize something one day when I was trying to make exercise of being more budget conscious. I just wanted to try it. I began to see something based on this exercise I was doing at the time. And I'll never forget the quote from what I was reading. And the quote, I wish I could remember where it was from, but the quote said, often when you're looking and longing to purchase something, there's two reasons for it. Number one, to scratch an itch to make you feel good, but you get a temporary shot of dopamine and serotonin, but then where are you? And then number two, most items are really just put together differently than the way that you would normally put them together and arrange them to wear coming out of your closet. If you can find and identify the pattern that's appealing to you in terms of how they put these colors together that you're looking currently at through a store window, you can duplicate the same thing. One client that I worked with faced this challenge, and I showed her the secret. We actually jumped on a video call, and I helped her audit her closet bit by bit, one by one, including the fit for certain items. Often it wasn't really that she needed to go out and buy anything new. She just needed to arrange the colors in a way that she never imagined. And maybe just go to the seamstress and have the waistline tucked in because it fit everywhere else, but the waistline was gaping. It's simple things like this that are a whole heck of a lot more efficient, a whole heck of a lot cheaper. And hello for anyone that's joined us. Feel free to type your questions in the chat or reach out to me later on. But it's a whole lot simpler and a whole lot easier and faster, might I add, to just simply take certain pants, certain skirts, for example, and maybe just tuck, tuck, tuck in the waistline, as opposed to taking the time to figure out what works, buying these items, heaven forbid, if they don't work out, then you've got to send them back. You're going through a lot of time. We're really, if you can rearrange the items in a different way in your closet, in different color combinations that perhaps you've never thought of, much easier, much faster. All right, let's get into number 5. Prepare for challenging situations by rehearsing what you'll say and do. This is key. When I served in higher education, and I've served in higher education for 20 years, one of the things I will often tell my faculty and my staff when we were experiencing really, really stressful and high demand, deadline oriented items, and we were interrupted for whatever fire we had to put out, I would ask, honestly, are you surprised that that student did that? If it was a student issue. If it was a vendor issue or a client issue, once again, are you surprised that they said that? Aside from the part where you may be dismayed that they said whatever they said and asked whatever they asked. But in all honesty, if you take a step back and remove the emotion and tease the emotion away from the situation, aren't they adhering to exactly the pattern that you anticipated? This is the key to preparing for challenging situations. This allows you to rehearse what you'll say and what you'll do. So that way, the next time that your boss, for example, to make this the whole why you should care factor, the next time that your boss gives you a project and it's on a tight deadline, if you begin to take a step back and note that this seems to be a pattern of your bosses, there's no need to get upset about it. You can actually begin to anticipate it. The answer to that is easier than you think. And that's one of the things I like to do in my digital wellness practice with us consulting with companies and with people is help you identify what the pattern is. You're too up close to the situation to really be able to take a step back. But for someone that's on the outside looking in, that's seasoned in these areas, it's really easy to pluck out what the patterns are so that way you can keep that prefrontal cortex online. You can rehearse what it is that you'll say. We give people the words in those instances if they're at a loss for words, words that don't feel like something foreign, something that feels like it should be said by someone else. We give you words that you're comfortable with that you feel that you can say, and it gets you the outcome that you want. Number 6, take action. Take action. And this is something that is so interesting. This is one of the biggest, most heaviest mistakes that people often make. We are so, in this society, the internet and social media has brought us so much. Compared to when I was in school, if I need to learn half the things that I'm needing to learn now and that I've learned now, even just in the past year, it would have taken oodles of time in the library, oodles of time of picking up physical books, oodles and oodles of time of flipping through books, trying to figure out what's workable, what's not, and then trying to understand and comprehend it. Now, with the touch of a button, I can have information at my fingertips. However, there's a caveat with that. It's information that may be reliable, or not, depending upon the source. It's information that may or may not be customized to my situation and my abilities and what chapter, point, and stage I am at my life. This is the unique challenge that most people face when we talk about taking action. A lot of people get stuck in that information gathering and research stage. It's because it feels so good to know something, to finally be able to access the information and to mold around and almost like a cow chewing on cud, just chew on this information and see how many ways you can go with it. But if you're not careful, you'll stay right there in research mode when you need to take action. The cost, the true cost, is you losing time, losing money, missing out on opportunities. Where your health is concerned, since that is what my digital wellness practice does and serves, your mental health is at stake. Your mobility is at stake. Your ability to even perceive and experience more joy in your life is at stake, because you're constantly worried. Most people are constantly worried about their body image, or they're worried about making another mistake. Take action. That's how you get good. Take action now. Set the timer. Research whatever it is that's challenging you for an hour, for however long you think you can stand it. Then set the timer again to implement. Pull the trigger for an hour or 2 hours. Stop at that point. Assess the situation and figure out where you need to pivot. This is how you learn what is it you need to research next. Should you continue down that same path of researching, or should you stop everything and dig a little bit deeper into this rabbit hole, because now you're seeing what the true problem is? Take action. The people that most people admire the most, the millionaires, the billionaires, maybe even the neighbor down the street, the reason for their success is because after researching it for however long they researched it, they eventually took action and let the chips fall where they may. Is it scarier than just researching? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Do you get further compared to just researching and then deciding to timidly step out alone? Unmistakably. All right, everyone. So this is the key to you building your confidence, to building rock solid confidence. And once your confidence actually is built and building, because you're seeing your problems fall away, for many people that I serve in my digital wellness practice, the emotional eating, the food binges, the stress eating, the weight, all of these things, without one talk, without one mention of a diet or a food plan or anything, falls away. Addressing the key items that are plaguing your mind is the answer. Once we release that energy, once that energy is freed, you are freed. And then you're more open and able to look at this through clear glasses of what fitness regimen really works for me, what food regimen really works for me. And from that, you create something solid. From that, you create something sustainable. From that, when it's tailor-made for you, through mentorship and time and love and caring, This is what makes you into the person that you always should have been, receiving the things you always should have received and feeling worthy of it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the Dr. Grant Show. I'm going to double check and see if you guys have any comments, because if you do, I would love to address them here. Let's see. All right. Thank you. Thank you. You said gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, if you are finding that this is something that makes sense to you, I encourage you to definitely reach out for a consultation. What I'm talking about here has nothing to do with a diet or an exercise regimen. The reason why my digital wellness practice gets results at our keynote speeches and our workshops and our accelerators and master classes get results is because we are addressing the mindset issue and what's really going on, and helping you flesh out what values and belief systems have been subconsciously holding you back. Once we do that and free up that energy, you can truly be the architect of your life. So reach out to us, edibleaddiction.com, or you can reach out and send us a text to 312-601-8510. All right, everyone, feel free to reach out to me, especially if you have something that's a wee bit too sensitive in nature. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you next Wednesday.